Follow the Path. The Bears Grove is adult-level discussion of role-playing as a storytelling art at samchuppmedia.com. Hello, and welcome to another Bears Grove podcast. My name is Sam Chupp. I hope you're having a great day today. Today on the program, we're going to talk a little bit about alignment. Now, alignment is a concept that's taken from a game called Dungeons & Dragons. You may have heard of it. It is something that is a system designed to differentiate different factions in a fantasy world. And it is disguised as a morality system. The problem with alignment as a concept is that the concept of what is good and what is evil, what is lawful and what is chaotic, is completely subjective. And what is neutral, it's completely subjective. And so you have a lot of people who are constantly arguing over what is good, what is evil, what is lawful, what is chaotic, and what is neutral. And the problem with that is it's just basically that you cannot play that. Okay? You can't accurately portray something as a character, as a player, because it's so subjective. Let me give you, for example. So the paragon of lawful good in the D&D game is Paladin. Okay, the Paladin character class has always been considered, okay, this is the lawful good character class. And apparently lawful good means that you cannot break any rules and you cannot do anything evil. Fine. So if you think about what you and your society defines as evil, that's where we get into trouble. Because evil, in this case, could be anything. When you're a paladin, if you kill someone, aren't you committing an act of evil? You're taking away their future choices, their future potential. They are no longer going to be given a chance to mend their ways. And therefore, you have taken their life. That's not good, in my opinion. That's not what good is. A good person would talk to somebody and say, look, why are you, a scenario like, okay, we're traveling through this wooded area, a group of bandits come out of nowhere, and they say, ha, stand and deliver. And the paladin should be saying something along the lines of, hey, look, everybody, I know that you're starving. I know that this is a bad situation for you. I know that you would like our things because then you're going to take them and sell them to make your living. However, I'd really appreciate it if you didn't take these things. It's not right. Okay? And the paladin should be the one saying, how about I give you some money from my own pouch? I'll give it to you, therefore you're not stealing it. And let's travel together for a little while till we get to the next city, and I will hook you up with with the priesthood, and they will attempt to help you out more thoroughly, give you a place to live, give you maybe even train you in a vocation so that you don't have to do this killing and this stealing in the woods. That is good. Okay, that to me would be good. Now, obviously, there's a point at which you have to think in terms of modern day morality as opposed to the medieval fantasy world, and say to yourself, well, at what point is defending myself, valuable? At what point is that good? So, and the truth is, really, taking a life is never going to be good. That's just how it is. But the truth also in life is that a lot of things that people do have a mixture of bad and good in them. And that's what's not being addressed by alignment. Okay? I remember having this massive alignment chart that looked like swoopy. There were it's like a cross that is swoopy, and had law on the top, chaos on the bottom, evil on the left, good on the right. And your GM was supposed to be able to plot where you were in the overall scheme of things by using this chart, and would be able to show you kind of how far you've drifted in one direction or another. But that still doesn't make much sense, okay? Because, especially when you start talking about neutrality. For example, a lot of druids are neutral. And I think that's because they are meant to be outside of the realm of human morality, all right? Mortal morality. They're supposed to be wilderness focused. They're supposed to be nature as a whole focused. And so they are not meant to be partisan to any one particular morality or political agenda per se. And a lot of people are like, well, neutrality is pacifism. Okay? You can't be neutral. You can't be a pacifist and not be neutral. And I don't necessarily agree with that, because I think that nature as a whole is not pacifistic. If you look at it, it literally is a massive conflict and struggle that takes place continuously. So it's really hard to ascribe a specific alignment to something as large as nature. Okay. I mean, there's some scary shit in nature. The whole, zombie mold that takes over the brains of insects kind of thing. That's pretty scary. That's in nature. So in humanity, if you really want to think about it, humanity is also in nature, and it's, shall we say, not very good either. So, alignment just doesn't work. And so I hate to say, well, okay, guys, there's no alignment anymore, but, what are we going to use instead? And that's where I go towards the thing that I like to do the most, which is to create personal values for my players. To say, I need you to list out your values. And whether you conform to those values or not, that's going to be a marker as to your personal morality. And if you don't have any values at all, then essentially you're mercenary. You have no. Your values are shifting and completely subjective all the time. And to me, that should have an effect in the story. It should tell people you're not a very trustworthy person to be around. You're suspicious. You need to, as a player, decide what it is your rationality is for the universe, what you should or should not be doing in any given situation. And you need to let that be your alignment guide. Now, I know you're saying, well, Sam, if you do that, then we're not going to be able to use spells like detect evil or detect good or no alignment. And that's a problem, because we have this spell which is supposed to give us alignment information. And I think that it would be totally valid for a spell like that to give you just a taste of your values, to give the detector a sense of kind of who you are. Kind of like the equivalent of a morality credit check. And that way, depending on where this power is coming from, you have to take that into account. That's how you decide what is communicated through that spell. So I can give an example, just basically the same concept before as let's say you're in a scenario like the Paladin and the Thieves. The Paladin can sense these people with the natural power of detect evil, and he can sense which of them has given up the value of life, of being fair to others, and which of them values money more than anything, which of them might be a person who could conceivably be reformed, that, okay, this person just never got a chance in life, and so on. That's if we're still following the concept of paladins are lawful good. In my particular games, however, I don't play it that way. I let the person who is playing the paladin decide what deity they hold in esteem, if any, and I let them decide what their values are. So going back to the paladin and the thieves concept, you might have a paladin of the god of commerce, okay, or the goddess of coin, and that paladin values money over everything else. And so when some thieves attack the caravan, that paladin is going to go into battle to kill those who would break the law and who would steal from the Lady of Coin. And that's going to be a very violent reaction. And he will feel perfectly justified in attacking unless they surrender, in which case, the goddess of coin or the god of commerce would want them to be taken in so they could repay their debt to society, and so on. So you can get the concept here that, morality has to be something that's generated from within. And it comes out of your character, not out of some objective point of view. If a DM ever says to me, Sam, you're not acting like a chaotic good person or whatever, to me, that's crap. I mean, why are you blocking the way my character is expressing themselves? I mean, this is the way the character is being played. You may not like it. You may think that it's wrong. It may be wrong according to the society the character is from. It may be wrong according to the country that character is in right now. But it is not I should not get kicked out of that alignment, as it were, just because I'm willing to go along with a plan for the greater good, for example. Just something for you to think about. And I realize that alignment is one of those things that is completely, like, everyone is left floating. And I think that it's something that might be ripe for a book sometime. Speaking of books, I really appreciate everybody recently purchasing my most recent book, which is the Mercenaries book, Forward Mercenaries. And I am in the final phases of putting together a book called Side Kids, which is going to be a one-shot adventure with game rules already built in the Fate Core universe. Fate Core game mechanics under that SRD. I'm also considering, the rest of the Forward series at this time. If you have any suggestions, if you have any wishes, please don't hesitate to send me a message. I am Sam at samchutmedia.com, and I'd be happy to hear from you. Thanks so much for listening to me, and when you sleep tonight, sweet dreams when you get them.